Dogs have a kind of hearing that feels almost unreal. You can whisper the word walk from the other side of the house, and somehow your dog materializes out of thin air like you just summoned them with magic. But then you say, "Drop it," while they're holding the most disgusting thing they've ever found on the sidewalk, and suddenly they act like they don't speak English anymore. That contrast is what I like to call the super hearing paradox, and it's the reason so many people underestimate what dogs truly understand. Because the truth is, dogs don't just hear sounds. They process human words with meaning. They attach those words to emotions and outcomes, and science has proven they can recognize far more of our language than most of us assume. So today, we're breaking down 5 unique words your dog actually understands, backed by research, and I'll explain why the third word can quietly shape your dog's trust in you for years. To understand how dogs learn words so well, you have to look at their evolutionary psychology. Dogs didn't just live near humans, they were shaped by humans, generation after generation, to cooperate, communicate, and work with us. Over time, the dogs who could read human cues, understand patterns, and respond to instructions were the ones most likely to thrive. That's why dogs feel like eager students. They're wired to pay attention, to check in, and to look for guidance. In fact, studies show dogs are sensitive not only to spoken words, but also to our tone, our facial expressions, and even where we're looking. And one of the most famous examples comes from cognitive research with exceptional dogs that learn to recognize dozens, sometimes hundreds, of object names, showing that dogs can build a real mental dictionary when training is consistent. That's not a party trick. That's evidence that dog brains are built for human language in a way most animals simply aren't. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. Research has found that dogs process the meaning of familiar words and the emotional tone behind them in different parts of the brain, which means your dog isn't only reacting to your voice. They're absorbing what the word represents. That's why a single word can create excitement, calm, urgency, or even anxiety before anything actually happens. So with that foundation in mind, let's break down the 5 golden words your dog actually understands, starting with the one that can instantly stop chaos when it's taught the right way. Number 1, the boundary word, no. Dogs absolutely understand the word no, but it only becomes powerful when it's more than noise. For dogs, no functions like an instant boundary marker, meaning it signals that a behavior will not lead to reward and needs to stop immediately. The reason it works for dogs more than it does for many other animals is because dogs are highly sensitive to social feedback from humans, and they naturally track what earns approval and what doesn't. However, this word can also become meaningless if it's overused, repeated, or said in emotional frustration, because dogs don't learn from volume, they learn from clarity and consistency. If no is screamed 10 times while nothing changes, your dog's brain starts treating it as background sound instead of a meaningful cue. The best strategy is to use no as a clean interrupt, then immediately follow it with a clear replacement behavior like sit, leave it, or go to your bed, because dogs learn faster when you show them what to do, not just what to stop. Number 2, the identity word, their name. Your dog's name isn't just a label, it's an attention cue, and science supports how strongly dogs can lock on to it. When you say your dog's name, you're essentially flipping a mental switch that means focus on me. Dogs are especially good at filtering their name out of background conversation because their brains are wired for human social engagement, and over time, the name becomes linked to eye contact, interaction, and direction. But here's what most owners accidentally ruin. If your dog's name is always followed by scolding, punishment, or stressful events, the name can lose its positive meaning and become emotionally heavy. Instead of joy, it triggers worry. The fix is to treat the name like a reward in itself, meaning you say it, your dog looks at you, and something good happens, even if it's just a calm smile, a gentle yes, or a quick piece of kibble. When your dog learns that their name predicts connection, their response becomes faster, happier, and more reliable. Number 3, the trust builder. Come. This is the word that can define the quality of your entire relationship, because come is not just a command, it's a safety contract. A strong recall can literally save your dog's life, and dogs understand this cue deeply when it's trained correctly. The reason come works so well for dogs is because dogs are naturally motivated to return to their humans. They're social animals, built to move with a group, and many dogs feel a biological comfort in reconnecting with you, especially when they're unsure or overstimulated. But here's the mistake that breaks recall faster than anything else. People use come to end fun. They call the dog to leave the park, to go inside, to get a bath, to get their leash on, or to be scolded. And the dog learns a painful association that come means the good part is over. The solution is to protect this word like it's sacred. Use it with rewards, celebrate every return like it matters, and practice it in easy situations long before you need it in an emergency. When come always leads to safety and positive outcomes, it becomes automatic, reliable, and emotionally secure, not hesitant. Number 4, the emotional marker, good or yes. Dogs don't only learn from treats, they learn from emotional markers, and this is where words like good or yes become incredibly powerful. In training science, this is called a marker word, which is a sound that tells your dog that exact behavior you just did is correct. It works because it bridges the time gap between the behavior and the reward, helping the dog understand what earned the reinforcement. Without a marker, many dogs get confused because the treat arrives too late, and they're not sure what action caused it. This is why professional trainers often use a clicker or a consistent marker word to create precision. But beyond training mechanics, dogs also respond emotionally to praise because they're sensitive to human approval and social warmth. Your tone, your facial expression, and your calm excitement become part of the reward. When you use good job like a real emotional signal, not robotic noise, it builds confidence, reduces anxiety, and makes your dog more eager to try again. Number 5. The magic word, walk or treat. Every dog owner has seen this moment. You casually say, walk, and your dog's entire body changes. Ears up, tail moving, eyes bright, energy rising instantly. That's not coincidence. It's prediction. Dogs are masters at associative learning, meaning they connect a word with an outcome so strongly that the word itself starts triggering the emotional response before the event even begins. Neurologically, your dog's brain is preparing for something rewarding, and that anticipation becomes part of the joy. What's even more interesting is that many dogs can recognize the word even when you say it in a different tone, or when someone else says it, which suggests they're responding to the sound pattern itself, not only to your personal voice. You can test this by saying walk when you're not moving toward the door and watching your dog's reaction. If they still get excited, that's word recognition. If they only react when you grab the leash, that's context recognition. Either way, your dog is learning language through patterns in a way that is deeply social and emotionally meaningful. Now you might be thinking, if dogs understand these words so well, why do they still ignore us sometimes? One reason is competing motivation. Dogs may understand perfectly, but if the environment is more rewarding than you are in that moment, like a squirrel, a smell trail, or another dog, their attention system gets hijacked. Another reason is stress. A stressed dog can lose access to learned behaviors because their brain is focused on survival, not obedience. And a third reason is training history. Dogs repeat what has been reinforced, and if a command has been said many times without follow-through, it becomes optional in the dog's mind. It's not rebellion, it's learning. Dogs are always learning, even when we're not training. So here's the takeaway. Communication with a dog is not about dominance, and it's not about shouting louder. It's about building clear meaning, strong associations, and emotional safety around the words you use every day. Because once a word becomes emotionally consistent, your dog doesn't just hear it, they believe it. And when your dog believes you, that's when you get the kind of listening that feels effortless. Now, I'd love to know, what is the one word that instantly gets your dog's attention every single time, no matter what's happening? And if you want to go even deeper, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, because the next video will help you understand your dog even more.